Welcome back. The next transformation we want to build is a filter transformation. This is so that we can filter only the data related to Europe and exclude the other data. So in order to create any transformation following the source transformation, you click on the plus here and then it gives you the list of transformations available. So either that you can search for filter or you can come down all the way under row modifier. You find filter transformation. So click on that and this is a very simple transformation. So we want to name our output stream from the filter transformation as filter Europe only. And incoming stream is the cases and deaths. And you have to specify a filter condition here. And this condition has to evaluate either true or false, a Boolean output basically. So before we do that, I want to quickly show you the data and tell you what we want to filter. So let's search to our spreadsheet. So this is our data as we said before. Let's do a filter. As we said before, we want to filter only data related to Europe. So let's select the Europe data. But one thing you will find is that there are some countries without country code. So let's pick those ones. And this is the total for EU and also actually the total Europe as well. So we don't want this data, so we can do the totals ourselves actually, so we can exclude those ones as well. So the filter condition we are going to write is going to include only data for Europe. And also it's going to include only data related to countries with country codes. So that means it'll exclude these totals here. So let's switch back to our data factory. And in order to write the condition, you have to click on the blue area here. So that'll open up a visual expression editor. So this is quite a nice feature. It's built on IntelliSense, so you can just as you can see. It highlights or it completes and things like that. It's pretty good. And the language here is a separate language. It's based on Scala, I think. And in order to see the help for those ones, you can click on functions. It'll list you all the functions. And as you can see, there is help when you hover over any of those functions. You got the examples and what that does. And there is more information on some of the complicated ones as you can see here. And also you can find any help within the Microsoft documentation here. So that's the learn.microsoft.com for the data flow expression functions. And as you can see, you've got all the functions really well documented. So let's get back to our data factory and you can see our input schema. So these are the input schema columns available for you. And if you had any parameters, then you would use them as well actually. So let's write our expression. So we want to pick our continent, so continent equals Europe. And also we want to check for any non-null country code. So I'm going to do not as null. It's quite nice actually. It's just helping me along the way. And we want to do a country code here. So what that's going to do is it's going to give me a true if the continent is 0 and if the country code is not null. So you can test it here. So if you just do a data preview and refresh, okay, it's going to give you a handful of samples. As you can see, Asia, India, and that is an output of false. If there is a true for any of these records, then you'll see a tick. You're not going to see any of them because all the top records are all for Asia. So it only gives you a handful of records here. But if you click and save, and then if you look at the data preview and then click refresh, you'll see all of the records. Okay, so the filter has worked. So everything related to Asia has been excluded. You're seeing United Kingdom within Europe and you see all of the data. Also, as you can see, the data is filtered actually. So, we've lost all the data related to India. The optimized, we were going to talk about that in the performance session. The other thing is the inspect. In this case, actually, apart from just this schema, you've also got the information about what's used in the filter. So we use the country code and the continent. That's the end of a filter transformation. In the next session, we'll look at select transformation, which lets you pick your columns. You want to carry forward and drop any you don't need. And if you want to rename anything, you can do that as well. So I'll see you in the next session.